No, are you guys serious? This is a real name? You got this scary, supposedly scary horror movie, and you decide to give it that name. A name that a 6-year-old came up with, huh? You're not gonna win people. I'm sorry. Oh, let's just say we're not even halfway through January, and already this has the silliest movie title of the year, if not ever. The Bye Bye Man. I'm sorry. Okay. Serious face. Serious review mode. The Bye Bye Man. Oh. Ow. Okay. The Bye Bye Man. Sorry, I cannot stop smirking. But anyway, this movie, I'm just going to say this movie is a horror movie that focuses around this spiritual, supernatural being whose name I can't stop laughing at when I say it. And this particular story revolves around a couple of teenagers who figure out about this legend, say his name, and now they're on the verge of almost dying. Of laughter, no, but actual dying, yes. Now, I first saw the trailer for this movie in front of The Edge of 17, one of my favorite movies of last year, and I seriously could not stop laughing at the name of the movie. Like, it's built up to be this super intense horror movie, and then at the end it says, The Bye Bye Man. My mom could not stop laughing at the ridiculousness of that title. So I didn't really have much hope for it at all. Now, the screening I went to was actually a special screening hosted by the fine people at Collider Nightmares. Thank you guys for that. And they had the director and producer there. And before the movie started, they were talking about how they had a lot of fun making this movie, how we looked like the kind of audience that would like this movie. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to give this the benefit of the doubt, like I do with every movie. Even if there's a little skepticism, I'm going to give this movie the benefit of the doubt, because they seem really earnest, and I'm always wanting for other filmmakers to succeed. Unfortunately, once the movie started, it was not as bad or laughable as I thought it was going to be, but pretty bad. I mean, it's a January horror movie, of course it sucks. And it's also a shame because I really like the premise. Now, getting past the ridiculous name, the concept of this supernatural being basically manifesting when people say his name or think about him is rather creative. It basically follows collective theory, the same theory that made the Slender Man so scary back in 2012, where everybody would think about this thing and talk about it so much that it starts to manifest. Now, I know some people out there are thinking that's kind of a bullshit theory, and in a way it is, because that's the equivalent of saying, well, where's Godzilla? Everybody talks about Godzilla a lot. Why hasn't he popped up in real life? But I'm saying in terms of the movies world, it's a theory that works, and it does lead to a cool idea. But it's just plagued with all the generic things that you'd expect from these kinds of horror movies. The script is just terrible. It goes through all of these horror cliches, almost like a checklist rather than an actual script, and goes, okay, jump scare? Check. False scare led by real scare? Check. And, oh yeah, teenagers having sex. Check. So it just goes through a checklist of horror cliches. And the pacing is really slow. This movie takes a long time to get things started, which would be fine if we really cared about the characters, but we don't. For all the people who complained about It Follows for being slowly paced, here you go. This is the movie that you people should be complaining about. Because at least with It Follows, it had a real sense of atmosphere, the premise was creative, more creative than this, and the characters were more likable, which leads into the characters in this movie. There is nobody to like in this movie. And it's not because they're awful people, it's just they're dull, and the actors are terrible, especially from the main girl who plays the main character's girlfriend, Cressida Bonas. I'm not going to say that her being bad in this movie was entirely her fault, but she has this deadpan, monotone voice, and it seems like she often takes the Kristen Stewart approach of acting, where her bottom lip just hangs down below, like... It's just... Watching her was... It was sad. Oh, and speaking of sad, once this movie reaches its third act, out of nowhere, we get Carrie-Anne Moss and Faye Dunaway, which these are two really respected actors. Faye Dunaway especially, because this is a woman who was in great things like Bonnie and Clyde and Chinatown. Now, granted, she is older, so she's not really getting the roles that she once got when she was much younger. So I can kind of give her a pass because I'm sure to her that this is a job. But the role that they do give her is really cliched and predictable. And then Carrie-Anne Moss has no reason to be in this movie at all. Her role could have been assigned to anyone who's not well known. I guess she just needed a paycheck before Jessica Jones comes back for season 2. So I don't have much else to say about this outside of the fact that it's raining hard and I think you guys might be able to hear it. So I'll just wrap things up here. My biggest disappointment was that before I went into this movie with the benefit of the doubt, I was hoping that this would be laughably bad just based on the ridiculous name, the Bye Bye Man. But sadly, it's not laughable. It's just boring. There's nothing interesting going on in this movie. It's slowly paced. There isn't anything creative with the cinematography or music. And it's just all around stupid. So I don't hate this movie because I didn't really expect much from it. But I'm never going to tell you guys to waste your money on this movie. Again, it's a January horror movie. You know it's going to be shit. Every movie that comes out in January... February's getting a tiny bit better, I guess, is never poised to be good at all. So it's just, yeah, not much else to say. Don't waste your money. And that's my review for The Bye Bye Man. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below and tell me what your thoughts are on this movie, if and when you see it, God forbid. And as always, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one.